right, what's up, everybody? It is go time. It is time. It is time. It is Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific time in the western part of the United States. This is the All Things Fantasy Grounds talk show, episode 77. We're going to be talking about MoreCore. And just as we start, I need to remind everybody that the All Things Fantasy Grounds talk show is meant to teach and help, but the opinions stated by the four of us on the show tonight are not that of Smiteworks USA LLC or Fantasy Grounds. It's just us talking here. And before we introduce our special guest, let me say first hello to my co-hosts, going in alphabetical order. Furied Fate, how are you?
I'm good, and Discord is not screwing up on me like it did during McClancy's game, which
Yes.
is which is really good.
For those of you that didn't watch us earlier today, we were playing Acquisitions Incorporated, and Furied kept getting kicked off and had all kinds of sound problems, but she sounds great now. So good. Glad you're here again. And Mr. Leroon, founder of Fantasy Grounds College, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Just recovering from the Founders Day weekend, trying to get some content up on our YouTube channel and our Twitch, helping Lady Shell with her module, teaching people some DM class, and trying to maintain a personal life.
It's hard out there to be a pimp. All right, and our guest today, many of you know and have either talked to directly or have seen on the forums and everything. He's been around for years and years. Damned, and how are you, Damned?
Yeah, I'm great, guys.
Excellent. So, for those that don't know, I can't imagine, anybody that might be new watching, Damned, can you give a little bit of a history about your connection to Fantasy Grounds and what exactly you do with it and all those types of things and how long you've been doing it?
So I started using Fantasy Grounds back in about 2011, I think. I was just starting to think I would like to uh, try this hobby that I used to play many years ago, and but having young kids and lots of work and everything else, I started looking for some online options, and I bumped into Fantasy Grounds quite early on, and Ronki was running a couple of one shots, some GURPS one shots, and I jumped in on one of those. And it was just mesmerizing. I mean, it was, compared to digital video games and things like that, it was really low key, but it was the fun and the interaction and the social element of role playing games, and he had some amazing backdrop scenes and graphics, and he's just a great GM, and it was just sucked me right back into it, and I really thoroughly enjoyed that session. Not sure he enjoyed it nearly as much as I did, but it was good fun, and I started playing from then. I started I couldn't find a game. I'm in Australia, and so time zones are completely opposite end of most of the player base on the system. And back in 2011, the pool of players and GMs was a lot smaller. And so after unsuccessfully looking for a group for a short while, I decided I'll have to be the GM and run it at a time that suits me, it suits my family. So I started running a game at like 10 p.m. at night, and on a Saturday night, because that would just late enough that early morning US folks might be able to jump in. And we got a group going fairly quickly, and it was a pretty bumpy ride to start with. I hadn't GM'd in 25 years, and
Oh, wow.
and I was learning the software, and the game I remembered was AD&D, so Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition. So the closest thing to that at that time was Castles and Crusades. So like I went and bought a whole bunch of Castles and Crusades books, never opened them. Just dived in and bought the rule set. My Fantasy Grounds had just started to try and learn it all at once, and I was really lucky. I had some really good people joining my group quite early on. Trenlo was in that group, and a couple of other people, and some of the people that I recruited in that very first year still play in my regular group 8 or 9 years later. So it's been good. It's been a great social ride. I've made a bunch of friends on Fantasy Grounds. I've had guys from America who are in our group come out to Sydney and have a tour around, and we've got together and played in person.
Oh, wow, nice. I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
uh, it's been good, you know. And Trenlo, when he's quite a hectic traveller, he's been around a bit, so you know he when he's in Sydney every now and again we catch up, and then I've got other people here in Sydney and in other parts of Australia that we've played with, and we've all gotten together at various times as well. So it's been good.
Oh, very good. Well, that's awesome. And then, were you the person who started FGCon, or was that an effort with anybody else?
No, it wasn't. Well, I certainly didn't start it. I was involved back in the first one, but I'm really not sure who floated the first idea. It was one of the usual bunch of suspects, uh, and I think we had like 20 games or something run on the first FGCon, and then we just really decided to keep it running. So um, you know, we've had lots of help from various different people getting that going and keeping it going, and that's been a lot of fun as well. A lot of work,
Yeah,
but a lot of
and
fun,
I know that
as
you're
most
yeah
of
you
know.
you heavily involved in the organization of or the logistics of the website and things that things that actually facilitate people being able to get together and make groups and stuff. So we appreciate that. Well, good. So welcome again, and we kind of just want to let you talk about MoreCore and let people know maybe some things they don't know about it. Now, did you actually develop the rule set yourself?
Yeah, so MoreCore. Okay, rolling back a little bit further. Um, this is even pre 5E days. So Fantasy Grounds was always known as the tabletop with the best rule set, the best capabilities, the ability to do the most within the rule set. You know, it's got other things that some of its competition do better, but in terms of building a great platform to make life easy for the players and especially for the GM, Fantasy Grounds definitely was head and shoulders above the other products out in the market. But it became kind of known as a product that was really good for D&D and Pathfinder and Savage Worlds and not much else. You know, that's what it was known for. And of course, there were a couple of other rule sets as well, but a lot of people would get asked or would be referred to Fantasy Grounds and they go, oh, but I want to play some other game and think that they couldn't do it. And so I spent a lot of time working on Core RPG and trying to get Core RPG to um, do more stuff. And in fact, I also spent a lot of time hassling Doug and John, you know, about building new rule sets and why
Yeah.
aren't we doing more rule sets and why aren't there rule sets for all these other game systems and all of this and um, you know they've got so much on their plate that it they don't have the capacity to build all these other rule sets. So you know, I kept pushing Core RPG and trying to find out what more I could do with Core RPG. And obviously, there's a lot that can be done, but it's also really meant as a bare bones, as a skeleton for you to put other stuff on top of. So
Right.
that's what we started to do. We built an extension for um, Core RPG initially, and it just added a few extra fields and some attack strings so that you could um, click an attack string that was similar to a NPC attack string in the combat tracker, and it would roll the attack or it would roll the damage and apply the damage, and those things made a huge difference. But of course, once you start, you know, it's a little snowball and it starts rolling and it collects more stuff, and people want it to do
Yeah.
more, and people want more systems and more dice mechanics and other things. So it sort of grew from there.
Okay. Yeah. Now, a lot of people get confused about Core RPG and MoreCore because I guess because the word core is in it, but Core RPG is just the basic sort of the building block, and then MoreCore and Savage Worlds and Pathfinder and 5e, they're all built on top of Core RPG. Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, so Core RPG has a huge amount of functionality in there, but it's not really tailored to any particular system. So it's got all the library windows, the lists. It's got the tables, the rollable tables. It's got all the chat functions. All of those things are part of Core RPG, and there's a whole lot of really essential things that are built into Core RPG. And but in terms of actually playing any particular game system on top of it, it's pretty skinny in terms of features. So if you were just happy to throw the dice and
Cheer
track
bits.
information on
Cheer
the
bits in the
character sheet
stream. Thanks for
manually,
the cheer
Core
bits.
RPG is a great platform, and it works really well. But it's an essential part of all the other rule sets that FG uses. But as by itself, without something on top of it, it can be a little bit bare bones.
Right.
So I describe, so if when people are asking, they want to build a rule set, and they want to develop Fantasy Grounds to run a game system that they want to on top of it. And for me, if you've got some coding ability and you've got some time and you really understand your game system and you really want to do this, then building your rule set on top of Core RPG is generally the best way to go, big picture, long term. But it's more work. There's a lot more to do. But if you're going to build out a full system, and there's a bunch of really good systems out like GURPS. GURPS is a community rule set, and it's built on top of Core RPG, and it's completely free at the moment. DCC started that way as well, and it got licensed. So you can build something fantastic on top of Core RPG, and that's the right way to go if you have some coding ability and you've got some time and you can commit yourself to that process. And it is a long process in working through it. But if you've got a game system you want to play and you don't have a whole lot of coding ability or any coding ability, and you don't have the time to build it, that's where MoreCore is the right platform to choose to run your game on.
Yeah, and to that, to exactly what you're speaking about, just recently in the last months, Gwydion had entered a board game called Map Maker into the MoreCore rule set, and then just like last week, he entered another board game called Role Player into MoreCore, and then he put it on the forums, and anybody can go download it for free and play it. And these are actual games that aren't meant for Fantasy Grounds, but MoreCore was very good for him to, he got the art assets from the companies that made the games and just put them in, and made the dice rollers and made tables for, he just made it happen. So pretty cool. MoreCore is very powerful, sort of generically, to do, as you said, anything you want if it's not already done in some other rule set.
So there's still a bit of a learning curve when you're jumping onto MoreCore, just like there is with Fantasy Grounds in general, and particularly if you're doing something that somebody hasn't pre-prepped a table for you. And there's confusion. There's terms and things in MoreCore that don't exist in other rule sets, so there's some confusion over the terms. And people, that there's, I don't know, 120 or 130 different dice strings that you can use in MoreCore to do dice mechanics for all sorts of different game platforms or game engines. And a lot of people think that you have to type these dice strings every time, or that you have to know all these dice strings, and you really don't. You create something called a roll. You open up your character sheet, or the GM creates a library of rolls, and the roll has the dice string embedded in it, and you can basically just click it, this roll, the standard icon that you would for any other Fantasy Grounds attack or save throw or check, and it will do all the rolling for you, and it'll do all the math for you. There's a couple of generations ago, we introduced a feature where you could link other fields from your character sheet into the rolls, so that if you've got, say, a stat of strength, and as your strength adjusted, all the rolls that used your strength would automatically update in line with that. Or if your strength bonus changed, all the rolls that used your strength bonus would change in line with it. So there's some really powerful features that have been built into
Sounds
MoreCore.
like it. That's cool. So, Leroon, I know before we started you had a particular thing that you wanted to ask Dan. Why don't you ask him that?
Sure. Now that the college has grown and expand, we are getting more and more people that are requesting to have rule sets put into MoreCore or into the Core RPG. So with that in mind, what are the best steps, or what do you think is the process for getting that accomplished? So starting from, gathering assets all the way into the implementation of the dice rolls. I mean, how would you do that if you, square one?
So it's really that how long is a piece of string question. It's how much automation you want to have into the system, how close to the
Cheer
system
bits.
you
Cheer bits
want
in
it
the
to get,
stream.
and how
Thanks
much
for the
time you're
cheer
willing to put
bits.
into it. You can skin MoreCore, and you can do some very basic skinning very easily on MoreCore. There's a whole bunch of different more rule sets that have been built on top of it that have got the whole table's been skinned really nicely for it. And so you can just skin the table and just use the MoreCore sheets as they are. You can do something like Super Teddy has done, and he's built a couple of rule sets where he's really gotten in and used the skeleton of MoreCore, but he's done a whole bunch of coding on top of it to facilitate the things that that game system really needs, or to make them go even smoother or even faster. I guess the very first thing you have to do is understand what the central dice mechanics are for the game system you want to play, because ultimately that's the hardest part, or the core part. That's the thing that we're doing. We're rolling dice. We all tell stories. We don't need the tabletop to do that, but rolling the dice and having the dice report or resolve the outcomes correctly for that game system. That's the most important part. So really understanding how the dice mechanics work and understanding what the dice mechanics depend on, what other modifiers or inputs go into them, how the dice roll should report back, whether the dice roll should interact back with NPCs or characters or character sheets. So a lot of these things are not simple answers. They're not simple questions, not simple answers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. It's not as simple. Yeah.
But in terms of that, it's not like when you're going through that process, it's not simple. But when you think about it, role-playing games aren't simple either. Like the whole idea of sitting around a table and telling a story, that's simple, right? But then when you look at the dice mechanics, right? And okay, you build a pool of dice, and then you explode certain dice on certain numbers, but then other dice on certain numbers count as fails, and they can detract from your total overall success. And then you drop your highest dice or your lowest dice. There's all these different things there, and then you get modifiers from equipment, or modifiers from attributes, or modifiers from teammates assisting you, or you might have I don't know, a curse or an ambient field putting some effect on you, or there might be an advantage or a disadvantage field. And so you've got all these things going on around you, and your human brain can just suck all this information in and just do it really easily. And because we can do it sitting around the table so easily, we can learn these mechanics and we can put these things in. We sometimes fail to see how difficult it is to teach a computer to do those things, and then making an interface that allows you to input all that information into the computer so the computer can read it easily. That's when it gets a little bit harder and a little bit fiddlier.
Yeah. Oh boy, just listening to that, I'm like, I'm so glad I stick to my lane. But we do. Oh, go ahead.
Ultimately, SmartWorks concentrate on a couple of core platforms, and really they concentrate on 5e, and pretty much everything else. All the other license rule sets are done by third-party devs. So people who really love their game system and want to build it and make it available, and earn some hobby money for doing that. But and commercially, it probably makes a lot of sense for them, because 65+% of the market plays Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. So
Right.
if you want to go and build another rule set out to 5e limits, you have to invest just as much time into that product as you do into 5e, and yet your maximum return is going to be 1 or 2% of what you get out of 5e. So SmartWorks concentrate their effort on the stuff that the core systems and the stuff that most people play. And while that might feel, some people might not be wrapped in that whole thing, it's just a reality. So it's us as it's a hobby, and it's a game system, and it's something that we do for enjoyment. So we build out the stuff that we really want to play, and we might not build it to quite the same polish as the 5e system, but we don't need to as well. We're building this as a hobby system, and we're building it to have fun and to play on. So get it to a point that it's playable, get it to a point that it makes it pretty easy to use on the tabletop, and then we run with it.
Yeah, and it's just as you say, it's if there's not a rule set in Fantasy Grounds, or there's a game that doesn't exist that you want to see, you can make it, or you can get somebody to make it. But I mean, it might not be as easy as saying it and then it's done. You have to put in the time, but almost anything is possible with the way they have it, so that you can build different dice rolls, different automation, use the combat tracker, even make extensions that do new things, as long as you are willing to, like some people that I've dealt with, dive into XML and Lua. The Dan Hudson, thanks for the follow on the stream. So Diablo Bob had a question, Dan, for you. He just wanted to know how long from start to finish, from conception to actual release, did it take to build MoreCore?
So MoreCore started as an extension for Core RPG, and then as it grew, it got more involved. We converted it into a rule set, and the real difference between an extension and a rule set is really how much it changes the system that it's layering on. So, but we started this, I don't know, 2015 probably, and it's still going. So it's never
so it's never done. Okay,
it's never done.
Right.
It's I think we're up to the 51st version, the 51st public released version of MoreCore.
Yeah, 1.51 it says here in the when I loaded it up on the table. Yeah. All right, and then he had another question. Just wanted to know: is there something you can address specifically about what changes will be made when Unity comes out, or will that not be a thing?
I really don't know the answer to that, because one of the dev team in the Fantasy Grounds dev team, Carl, who's brought on because of his, particularly because of his expertise in Unity development, but also he's a gamer and a role player, and he was building the great Tabletop Connect platform. So, but one of the cool things that he was building on that platform was the ability to load up a PDF or a image of a character sheet, and then you to be able to, within the game engine, highlight a particular area and make it into a field, and then tell it what sort of dice you wanted to throw or how you wanted that field to work. Now, it didn't necessarily have huge amount of ability to interact between things, but it made the ability to grab a new system, pull up Stars Without Number, or pull up whatever game system that you wanted,
Right.
and pull in that character sheet, and maybe in an hour or two of work, get a system that you could start running with. And it wouldn't have the automation, but it would let you do all the sharing and the rolling and everything else. And so we don't know a whole lot about Unity just yet, and I don't know if that's even a focus. So very keen to see how or where those features might get brought back in. But Unity is going to continue to run the same rule sets that we currently run.
Right.
There's going to be, I think, a whole bunch of image functionality will be improved, and which means existing things will break, but we'll work with that. So MoreCore will survive initially, but I have some quiet hope that somewhere down the track that there may be some really awesome tools within Unity that may make MoreCore defunct, or it might not, and we'll just see how that goes. And if there's a place for MoreCore, we'll keep developing it, and if there's not, I will start working on something else.
There you go. Cool. Lensman 1986 has a question. Are there any plans for a graphical editor that would help when creating custom sheets, such as a custom character or vehicle?
So that's kind of, so there's the one I was just talking about there with the Tabletop Connect option. And so while it won't have, or at least that initial version didn't have any serious automation built into it, it certainly had a nice ease of access and accessibility into it, and it was all within the game system. It didn't really require any outside programming. So I hope that we'll see that. But in terms of MoreCore, you don't need, if you stay within the MoreCore platform, you can do a huge number of games, like massive number of games can be built 100% within MoreCore with no additional coding, no additional graphics required. But it does require you still to learn a little bit about the system and understand how how MoreCore works and how it works with the game platform that you want to do. You know,
Right.
again, it's not super clear or super straightforward, but as I said, role-playing games really are quite complex underneath the skin.
Yeah, no doubt. So, for those of you that are watching in the Twitch chat, if you have any more questions, go ahead and type them in. We are going to have a shorter show today because we want to respect Dam's time. For those of you that haven't figured it out yet, he's in the middle of his business day, so it's like 1 p.m. on Monday because Dam lives in the future. Over there, 1 or 2 p.m. at his time, and so that's why his phone's ringing in his office. So we want to try to respect his time and let him go. So if you have any questions, put them in there now. Furied or Leroon, did you guys have any more questions for Damien?
I have one. Just it's probably not a fair question, but off the top of your head, what are the top 2 questions or possibly problems that most people come up against when they're trying to put in their rule set into MoreCore?
So the first thing is there's a huge number of people using MoreCore, and that's really quite cool in a lot of ways, particularly in that. So I think MoreCore was the 6th most played or used rule set last year, and that's pretty cool because out of all the rule sets on there that were above it, they were all pre-installed rule sets. So they're rule sets that come with Fantasy Grounds. So MoreCore actually, you have to actually know about it and go and download it, and then put some time and effort into using it. And it was still the 6th most used rule set. So definitely people finding it useful and running all sorts of different games on there. But I ultimately the first thing is, does your game system use a dice mechanic that there's already support for within MoreCore? So if it already uses a dice mechanic, then it's pretty easy to get started. So I said there's 120 or 130 different dice strings, dice rolls that are already supported in MoreCore, but there's like, I don't know, I say there's something like 8,000 different RPG game systems out there, and so many different game engines and game design things out there, and so many new game designers. I don't know, it's like they want to have a peculiar or different game engine or a game mechanics just to make the game system different, and really there's so many great existing game systems that I think game designers would be far better off building out their genre or their flavor on top of an existing game mechanic, rather than making people learn new mechanics and things like that. But anyway, that aside, if your game mechanic is already supported by MoreCore, the barrier is very low. Just get started. And if it's not, what you have to do is really nut out exactly what the game mechanic is, what the dice do, what impacts the dice. Do you add, if you add modifiers, do you add them to the number of dice, to the dice sum? Do you add them before or after you do certain things? So understanding that whole dice mechanic process, and then sharing that, and then we can look at whether we modify an existing role, whether you build a new one, whether you do it, whether I do it, but really understanding exactly what you need your system to do. Once you understand that, then we can go forward and get something quite quickly out there.
Okay, fair enough.
Excellent. So I got one more for you, Damned, and then we'll let you get on with your day. I'm going to do the best to paraphrase what I think he's asking. So George Orr in the Twitch chat wanted to ask, do you have any pointers or advice on where people can start concerning the learning curve if they want to make their own rule set or character sheets, or do something different with the combat tracker? Do you have to learn XML? Do you have to learn Lua? Can you just make an extent? I mean, where's a good place to start? My answer would be the forums. Just go read about it. But do you have any other separate advice you can offer people who want to maybe get started and doing their own thing?
So most people should not try.
Don't do it. That's what you're saying. I love it.
No, I mean that you shouldn't start with a rule set, right? Like you don't say, I'm going to build a 4-story house, right? That's not your first project. Your first project, you build a coffee table, right? So you build an extension first. So you build an extension, and you just tweak something that's existing in an existing rule set. And you do that by building an extension, and hopefully it's an extension that uses XML and Lua, so you learn a little bit about both. And because the concept of a layered rule set and an extension is identical. They both modify the behavior of whatever they're sitting on top of. And a rule set just modifies a lot of behaviors, whereas an extension modifies a small number of behaviors. Except for things like, say, maybe the combat enhancer, which has a lot of things that it modifies. But because it's built for a specific rule set, it's still an extension. So start small and just play with and try and do a couple of things that you want to change. So if your game table, if your group plays things slightly differently to the rules as written, try and code that into Fantasy Grounds as an extension, or read the forums and see what somebody's requesting something, and try and build what they're envisaging, and get that under control. But to build a rule set, you 100% need to learn to, and to do anything under the hood in Fantasy Grounds, you need to look at the XML. I've got a bunch of tutorials, and I'm not the greatest speaker or presenter, but there's a bunch of tutorials I've done building a rule set on top of MoreCore, and they apply equally to building it on top of Core RPG, or building it on top of 5e, or building it on top of anything else. They don't teach you how to code or how to program, but they teach you how to do it within Fantasy Grounds. So they teach you how to find stuff in Fantasy Grounds, how to find what it is that you're looking to understand. They teach you how to interact with the database, teach you how to interact with elements on the tabletop. They teach you how different things work together, and how you can sometimes merge code and sometimes you replace code. Talks about some best practices in terms of how you do it. So you're replacing as little code as possible, because the more code that you change, as Moon Wizard updates more of Core RPG or more of the 5e rule set, there's more things that your extension might be dependent on that might break. So understanding all those concepts, and I can send you those links. But most of the people that have expressed something on the forums or in the chats about doing this sort of stuff, I probably link those two. And there's about 15 videos, I think, and they range from about 5 minutes to about 25 minutes in length, but they're each on a specific topic, and they just build
they're
on
on YouTube, yeah.
They're on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So there you go. That's a great place for people to start. At least you get a basic understanding of you might, like he said, he's not teaching you how to code, but you would watch these videos and sort of garner what's going on with all this, and at least it's a basis to start for seeing if you have an interest to continue. And the forums are really helpful. The Fantasy Grounds forums are really helpful, and also probably the official Fantasy Grounds Discord would be a place that you could ask questions and get a hold of people. Well, good. So I wanna let you go, Damien, because I know you got to answer the phones. But we really do appreciate. So hang around, everybody, because as soon as we let Damien go, we will continue the show and give away a prize. But we want to let him get back to his life. So thanks for coming on, and thanks for making the time. We really do appreciate it. We know that it's in the middle of your workday, so we really want to thank you for letting us talk to you. And we will also remind people at the end of the show later to participate in the FG cons on your behalf. We appreciate you doing that as well.
So one last thing I'll let
Sure.
you guys is, if you do spend some time putting some stuff into MoreCore or building something out on top of MoreCore, even if it's just a character sheet where you've done no code, but you've built up a character sheet for a game system, you've put some roles in it, put it on the forums and share it so other people can see how you approached that particular game, and it just makes it so much quicker for the next person if they want to run that game system up. Just export your characters into an XML file and upload those in the forums, and people can import them and pretty much start playing straight away. So share what you create. If you create something, don't keep it in your own group. Share it. Let other people work with it, improve it, and mess around with it. It just helps everybody.
Yeah, excellent advice. And I'm going to maybe show the people the wiki too, where all the lists of all the rule sets that are, people don't even know they're there, like Star Wars and all these other ones that you can download and use. Good. Well, thank you so much, Damned. Damien Hutfeld, is that, as I say your name right? That's who he is on YouTube. You guys can go look up his videos. I think a link is in the chat for us. But we really do appreciate it. Any final words, Damned, that you'd like to say to anybody, or is it time for you to be on your way?
So just have fun, guys, and don't just play 5e. Everyone loves 5e. I love 5e, but play some of those other games. Give some of those other games some love, and use whatever rule sets are out there. And if they're not, use MoreCore or do whatever. But there's so many great game systems out there. There's so many great genres out there. So get out there and try some other systems, and just really experiment and play around with it. There's some really good stuff out there.
Very good. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your Monday, Damien. Thanks for coming on.
Have fun, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Cheers.
Hi.
So good. That was great to get him, and of course it was obvious that he said he was going to be in the middle of his day and that it might be kind of tough, but we made it work. So now let's give people a prize. Let's give a prize to people, because that's how we do it. If I can
prize time.
If I can remember how to do it. Oh, amaze balls. That was the last one.
I think
go ahead.
The keyword is damned.
Yeah, damned. Let's do it. D-A-M-N.
Do it.
Damn and damn. I spelled it wrong. Let's try that again. Damned, like that. And what the prize today will be is going to be a Rob 2E DM's Guild thing. So if you want to win a thing, I will start it and we'll put a 2-minute timer on. So keyword damned, everybody. Exclamation damned, just like Manicuri and Halfront did. Yeah, you guys are getting it. So we'll draw that in a couple minutes. That was awesome to have him on.
Yeah, it was.
And for those that don't know, we mentioned it a couple of times, but he didn't start FGCon, but he's very instrumental, Damned, is in running the website for it. It happens a couple times a year, I think April and October. And fg-con.com is the website. Here, I'll put that in the chat. But most of you guys probably know about that. But if you don't, it's a place where you can go and sign up to play Fantasy Grounds games, and like he said, you can show some love to some different rule sets, and you can even DM, like if you want to play some other weird rule set that nobody plays ever, you can start a game and invite 4 or 5, 6 people to it, and then because like he said, everybody loves 5e, and that's my big thing. I'm a big 5e guy. I love 5e. I love it so much I have blinders on. I can't see anything else. But I've played different game sets, rule sets, and I do notice that the more I use Fantasy Grounds and the more like Gwydion had a Pathfinder 2 playtest that we did. I've played a couple Savage Worlds things. I even played a game of 4E, and I don't like 4E, but it was fun on Fantasy Grounds. And, the tool that we have at our fingertips to make these games work, it just makes it all so easy and fun. And then, of course, the big sell of Fantasy Grounds itself is that you can play games with people who aren't physically located where you are. So if you had a high school or college group or your family, and then everybody gets married and moves away or where, you can still do it. So it's awesome. What else? If you guys have questions about other things besides what we talked about tonight, that's Fantasy Grounds, you can ask us that. We always want to remind people that you can ask the questions. Let's see how we're doing on the... Oh, it's done. Okay, let's pick a winner. Who is it? Boom! Parody Bit 1, I think is how I would say
nice.
That. Parody Bit 1.
New.
That's a new name. He's new.
Yep.
So congrats to Parody Bit 1. I see you're not a follower. Boo.
Boo.
Hit the follow button, but you still win. You don't have to be a follower to win. I don't take the prize away if you're not a follower. So Parody Bit 1, you would need to contact me in my Discord, and I'll give you the link for that. So just come to my Discord. If I learn how to spell Discord, it'll all work out fine. Come to my Discord and then just send me a personal message. Hey Rob, Parody Bit 1, I won on the show tonight, and then I'll tell you what you can do to claim your prize. And let's take a look at what's coming in the future. Oh my God, it's the green out portion of the show right here, like this. Google Sheets changed the color things changed. They look like this now. Kind of weird.
Huh. Yeah.
There it is. Parody Bit 1 has followed. Thank you for the follow. So next week, Maticuri, who I believe might be here now, he should be in the chat. Yep, he's here. He's going to talk with us about the Forge in the Dungeon Master's Guide, which is that cool thing that's been there since December of 15. that many
Yeah.
people either don't know about or they forget about it, where you can mix magic items and make, you can make your sword of smacking love potion or whatever the hell. You can do whatever you want. I think you can't. The one thing is you have to combine like items though, so you can't do like a sword with a potion. You might be able to.
Yeah.
Though. Manicure is going to tell us. And then the week after that, on the 18th, we're going to have the Call of Cthulhu crew here that Layroon put together, talk to us about, and we're going to give away a COC rule set as a prize that week.
Nice.
Week after that, we're going to have DM's Guild Showcase One Click More, which is already sold. It's already a copper metal seller. We haven't even talked about it yet. It's already sold over the copper metal amount. So Diablo Bob will be here to talk to us about that. Meantime, next few weeks after that, we'll have to come up with shows, and we have like blank ones down here.
We got it. I got you shows.
You got shows?
Got
okay, so we're going to talk about that.
Yep.
And then on the 22nd, which will be the Sunday after the rule set comes out, we'll showcase Baldur's Gate Descent to Avernus. And then for those of you that didn't hear before, I did physically back Doug Davison into a corner in like the Holiday Inn Springs in Florida and made him commit to coming on our 100th show, which if the schedule holds will be on January 12th. So we'll have Doug Davison here on the show to talk to us. And the idea is Unity will be out, and then he can come on and...
Nice.
He's been hiding from all the shows. He doesn't want to go on it because people are going to ask him stuff and he doesn't have answers. So he should have answers by then. So that'll be good. What else? What else is happening?
I got a statement to make about Fantasy Grounds in general.
All right.
For anybody watching the show, whether live or out there in the interwebs, if you're going to want to develop anything for Fantasy Grounds, you want to, first of all, understand the rule set that you're trying to work with. That is very important. And also play with Fantasy Grounds for a good while. You're usually not going to find out what it does in a week. So you want to play some different rule sets, whether it be 5e or MoreCore or whatever rule set you use. Try different ones and see what they're capable of. And maybe slightly start modifying and picking at them until you kind of get a feel for it. And then go out and pursue your rule set that you want to enter, because you're not going to learn Fantasy Grounds in one day. I'm still learning, and it's been like 2.5 years. So there's really no end to the learning curve. There's really, it's just learn and keep learning and learn some more. And just when you think you've learned it all, now you got to learn some more. So it's an ongoing process. So that will never stop.
Right. And to that point, many people, if not every person watching, knows that I do the DM's Guild things and that I built modules for the Smiteworks store and done some Wizard of the Coast ones and whatever. When I first started on day one, I didn't know a fucking thing. I knew nothing. And all I did was what Layroon just said, which is just built on it daily and taught myself, and then learned another thing, and then learned another thing, and then talked to people and said, oh, that's how, and then I fixed it, and then I trial and error, and I just on and on and on. And now, almost 4 years later, things have gotten pretty good. But on my first day, I didn't know anything. And so if you're interested in programming rule sets or making extensions or doing altering stuff for Fantasy Grounds, I mean, this kind of applies to anything in life. Is all you have to do is commit to doing it and then learn how to do it. Like Shad just typed in the chat, making a token module. That'd be a good subject. I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to figure it out in the next 4 weeks. And we'll put it on there. We'll slide it in here somewhere. Speaking of which, we do have a Idea Informer page. If you're watching, especially if you're watching this on YouTube later and you're not here live, we do have an Idea Informer link that I'll put in the chat right now. But you can see it on the video if you're watching on YouTube. So it's ATFG, all things fantasy grounds .idea.informer.com, and you can come and type here what you think we should do for the show. And anytime somebody puts this in here, Furied and Layroon and I all get an email, so we know what's up. And so we'll hopefully do. I mean, the only reason we wouldn't do an idea that you would tell us is for 2 reasons. 1, we already did it, or 2, we don't know how to do it, and we'll figure it out eventually. But other than that, anything you tell us you'd like to see, we could we could probably do it. We do get a lot of ideas that we've already done or that someone else did. So but you just, and then I point them to that direction. Like, oh, we did that in show 4. Go watch it. But yeah, we want to hear from you guys because we want the show to be what you want it to be. So,
Yep.
How to build a token module. We did it. It's done. Everyone just linked it.
Yeah, Zacchaeus did it, but we can revisit it.
Okay, we can revisit it then. So that's good. As a matter of fact, let me capture that link.
Yep.
And
I'll put it in Discord in case.
I got it right here. Like that.
Okay.
Boom, like that.
All right.
So, what else, guys? Anything else? Rob Tui, you have a very successful extension now. Yeah, I have an extension that quite frankly got away from me because it does all this other crap that I didn't want it to do, but I didn't. It wasn't really mine, so I couldn't say anything. I didn't want it to put shit in the chat that told the VM when people made it fancy, and I just let it go. I didn't. But I really didn't want to do that. So that's another story. Do we have anything else to do? We gave away the prize. I know it's a shorter show, but I might have to like that because I've had a really busy week, and then I had a game today, and I still have to do these. I'm gonna maybe go to bed at 7 p.m. so I can get up to crack of dawn and do these modules.
Maybe we can get those.
What'd you say, Fury? I didn't hear that.
Go ahead.
Oh, waking up the crack of dawn. That sounds horrible. I would never do that.
Well, the crack of dawn for me is like 9.
If I get dawn for me is 4.
Yeah, I have to take my medication at 10 every 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. anyway. So I have to get up at 10 a.m. anyway. So if I get up earlier than that, to me, the definition is the crack of dawn. But you got to remember, for 25 years, my sleep pattern was, go to bed at 4 a.m. and get up at noon.
Get the crack of noon.
Yeah, well, because you're a comedian, you do the show at 9 or 10. The show's over at 11. You go to hang out with the other comedians till 12 or 1. You come home, you wind down. It's between 2 and 4 before you go to bed every single night. It's crazy.
Every time I get up, it's dark. So even in the summer, it's dark. In the winter, it's dark.
It's all dark.
It's 4 o'clock. So it didn't matter what time of year. It's still pretty dark.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, there's a couple other show ideas that came up through the chat. One was to revisit the IRL episode.
Oh, yes. FG in IRL. That's great. That's always, you could talk about that a million times. That's always good. And I think
we just got to find someone to help us with
that.
I
mean, I did that. I mean, I think I was the expert before, but we can get another person. Yeah, it was over a year ago we did that. So yeah, we can do that again.
Okay.
Let's do this actually. Copy this.
Yeah, it was episode number 25.
And then
we did that.
We'll do like revisit it or whatever.
Yeah, now that you have your studio, we can kind of show it.
Well, what do you mean? I don't know what you mean.
We could show the multiple setup or whatever you want to do.
Well, having it, that might be tough. Because I don't. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll talk about that after the show. Because I don't. What you're saying tonight, I can't put that image in my head. I don't know what you mean.
Okay.
Because mainly what people do is either they use a laptop and they transport their game to wherever they're going, to the game store, to a friend's house, or they're doing in their house, which means they might use not a laptop, but a regular PC. Almost every picture I've ever seen of anybody doing it, they are using a laptop. Because they're doing it on like a game table or their kitchen table, and then you can't like most people have their home computer on either a desk or somewhere in their house, but there's no place to play games near it, so they do it with a laptop. But yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about the different ways to do it. Plus all these people you see making, building TVs into the top of their table and making a custom thing for the whole map. Yeah, we can talk about all that stuff.
Also had an idea for a show. I wanted to make it a contest, but I don't know if it would get any traction. But really like to have a contest or some type of show with like the best screenshots from Fantasy Grounds games, and it really never really manifested. And I think it'd be beneficial for everybody to do a show like that. It would help Smiteworks, it would help us, it would help you.
Yeah,
and it would make for a fun thing.
We could run that for like a month and have it be like on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever, or even just email it in or, whatever. We can figure out how to set that up. And then, yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
Whoops, hello.
And then the show will show off the top
Right, we'll do
20
like
or
the top 10
whatever.
or something, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll have to have parameters like
Oh yeah.
it has to be. Well, no, but like why? Like screenshot of what? Like of an encounter on a map, or no parameters, just the coolest thing you've seen in Fantasy Grounds that you took a screenshot. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. But that is a good idea. All right, we're getting some ideas now. And anytime we can't come up with an idea is why I guess I don't need 14 of them. I could just. We'll showcase either a DM's Guild thing or a Smiteworks thing.
Cool. When's the Essentials coming out? The 3rd?
It comes out the 3rd.
Do we have a show then?
You know what? That's a good idea. We should do that.
9/8. 9/8.
Yeah.
That's
D&D
next.
Essentials kit. All right, we'll talk about that. As a matter of fact, let's lock that in. Let's do it. Let's lock it in.
9/8, baby.
All right, we're locking it in, and we'll probably usually when we do a show like that, we give that one away. We'll give this one away. We just give it away. Buy it and give it to somebody. Because I'm loaded. I got $38. right here. Oh no, I don't. I got $3. I'm sorry. I have $3 on my. That's how much money I have on me right now. $3. I'll work it out. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to get $30 more to buy that. Okay, good. It's so funny when we get. So what happens, everybody, is after the show gets over, we get an email about 10 minutes after the show ends that tells us like how many people were watching, how many people in the chat and stuff. And when we start talking like this, just bullshitting, we don't have anything we're really talking about, we're just bullshitting, that's when most people watch. If you're talking about the subject, they're like, yeah, okay, thanks. When we start talking about, like, what are you doing this weekend, then we get way more people in the audience. It's like a Nielsen ratings jump up or whatever, if they even have those still. I had a Nielsen box in my house. Did you guys ever have one of those?
What is that? It sounds
right.
like something like old people will know about.
Goddamn millennium son of a bitch.
I know what it is, but I never had one.
It's all done by computers now, but it can be done by the actual cable box that you have and stuff like that. But they used to come to your house and they would hook up a thing to your television or your radio, and well, no, I don't think they hooked it up to your radio. They would just monitor you in like vans, like white vans would drive down the street and pick up what radio station you were listening to.
Creepy.
But they would monitor your television show, and they'd say, okay, I watched the news, for 20 minutes on Tuesday, and then I watched Magnum PI for 40 minutes, and I didn't watch the whole show, and they would, that's how they knew how many people were watching what show, and then they'd put this in like 1 million homes, and then average it out and say, okay, well, if 40% of these million people, then you can assume that 40% of the country did that, and that's how they got these ratings, and that's how they would make it, how much commercials cost and all that shit. Now I don't think they do it. Now, as a matter of fact, it's interesting, about a year ago or so, I got a letter in the mail. It had a $5 bill in it, and it was from the Nielsen company, and it asked me like 4 questions, like what radio station do you listen to? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you have an iPad or an iPhone? It was like 4 or 5 questions, and it said if
and
I
they paid you $5
they
for
paid
that?
they paid me $5 up front, and they said if you send in the survey, we'll pay you 20 more. And I got a $5 bill in cash. And then when I sent in the survey, they sent me a check for $20, and I was like, it took me 2 minutes. Yeah, postpaid.
Do that.
Right? And they just randomly pick people. There's no way to get on a list, or they just fucking yeah. So today, about 10 in the morning, there's a knock at my front door, and now I have a Ring doorbell, right? So I answer the door on my phone, and I don't go to the door, and it's a dude standing out there. He's got a cane, and he's like, "I'm from the U.S. Census," and I'm like, "Uh-huh." And he showed me his badge, right? And he goes,
Oh,
I just have to
legit.
ask. Right, he was legit, but he goes, I just want to ask you 2 questions, and I go, okay, what are the 2 questions? And I thought he was gonna say like, well, can you come to the door or whatever? And he just asked me the 2 questions, which were, I don't remember what they were, but like, is there? It was something like, do you have a separate attachment to the home, or is it just a single structure? And something else about how many families live here, one or more, and that was it. That was all his questions. And then he left, and I'm like, okay, I've just been cased. I'm gonna get robbed tomorrow. But
Right.
but it was cool. Now I just sit in my house and I fucking literally don't even answer my door. I just talk to him on video on my phone.
Nice.
So you really don't have to put pants on anymore.
No, and I don't have pants on right now either. I haven't had pants on. I haven't had pants on since like Thursday,
Nice.
and that was because I left the house.
Oh gosh.
Rob, what do you think about all the hubbub about getting a D&D movie out again? A real one.
So here's the thing. They did. So you guys all know I'm a huge fan of Dragonlance, and I wish Wizards of the Coast would just make it already. The I'm talking about the book, the game, not the movie. But that movie, that Dragonlance movie that was animated and has like Kiefer Sutherland in it, was a horrible piece of shit.
Yeah.
So then I think in like 2000, wasn't like one of the Wayans brothers in a D&D movie or something?
Yeah, those are unbearable.
Those are unbearable. Yeah. Now I'm one of these people who has never seen the cartoon, the Saturday morning cartoon from the 80s. I've never seen it. And because I've heard it's good, but I don't want to, I'm too afraid. I'm afraid to watch it. And so I think if they make a movie, they better do it right or it's fucking over. Like, no wonder they waited 20 years because people, nerds aren't forgiving. You got to do that shit right or they're going to eat you up.
Yeah.
So what they need to do is they need to make it a big budget, like, 2-year long shoot and go to Comic-Con 17 times and just do it right. Treat it like it's Star Wars is the only way that's gonna be right,
Well, Lord of the Rings comes to mind. If they did it like that.
Right, so Lord of the Rings, I'm not even a Lord of the Rings fan. I'm not a Tolkien fan, but those movies were fucking awesome. They were great.
Yeah.
And even the Hobbit ones were good.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's what they need to do is be serious about it. And you got to be smart about casting. So, like, the Lord of the Rings movies, because it takes you out of immersion, right? Like I'm really afraid to watch this Mr. Rogers movie because Tom Hanks is Mr. Rogers, and he's a good actor, but it's Tom Hanks, and the whole time I'm gonna be going, oh, it's fucking Tom Hanks. But I saw the preview and I was like, whoa, that looks pretty good. Cheerbits, thank you, whoever that was. Who was it? Cheerbits, Lady Shell. Oh, it's Lady Shell again. Thank you, Lady Shell. She's the best.
Damn.
And so the answer to the question is I would be excited about it if they do it. I mean, that sounds stupid to say because, like if they don't fuck it up, then yeah, I'm in. But you're not going to know till after the fact, right?
Yes.
So if they need a fat, gray-haired, old, cranky wizard, I'm in. Cast me. I know how to fucking hit my mark. I know where the camera is. I know how to take direction. I know how to fucking act, people. Just hire me. I'm not in any movies that you would...
Who would you cast for Elminster if they used that as a character?
Well,
a given actor or someone you know.
Chris Perkins. That's who I'd want to see do it. And
how about Dritz Duerden? Who would play the Dark Elf?
Dritz would probably have to be somebody like Johnny Depp. But see, it can't be someone that famous, though. It can't be somebody that famous.
Yeah.
It's got to be like... I don't know, the kid that plays the Flash.
Okay.
He would be good.
All right.
Grant Gustafson. I
So
don't remember.
he basically has to be kind of like a badass, but also eye candy for the ladies. To actually
Yes.
go
Right, because Dritz is a fucking, like, white-haired, chiseled, angular-faced fucker. Right.
Pretty boy.
Yeah.
Donnie Yen. So I don't know who Donnie Yen is. Let's look up Donnie Yen. We're doing the bullshit show. Let's look up Donnie Yen right now.
Donnie Yen. Let's get it on here.
We'll be here for another hour.
Donnie Yen. Let's do it.
Casting. Dungeons and Dragons movie casting call.
Yeah, Dretz. That he would work. This brings to mind also another dude. What is his name? Here's what we should do. Who should play Dretz? Dritz. There's an R in it, fucker. My Dreamcast.
Yeah, let's look at it.
No. I love him. I love Peter Dinklage. Oh my god, he's my favorite. No. Oh, this can't be.
You can play something.
Fucking Wesley Snipes. That can't be what I must have somehow. Legend of Dress movie. Whoa. Oh.
Well.
Oh, but for
Snipes
different parts, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. Fucking whatever. Anyway, so my answer would probably be the kid that plays the Flash, or because he's just famous enough, but not uber famous. Like right. I can't even. I've seen every episode of the Flash. I can't give you the guy's name. Grant something. I can't even. That's how famous he is. I don't know his name.
How about Lady Illustrielle of Silvery Moon?
Oh, I don't know if I know that character.
She's pretty big in the lore, but Illustrielle, Lady Illustrielle of Silvery Moon.
Okay, so this woman. Okay, so right away, Jessica Chastain.
Oh yeah. How about what's her name? Comes to mind. Oh, I almost said Reba McEntire, but not her.
No.
Okay. I guess it depends on. Reba.
Reba. Yeah, so I and are there plans? Let's see. Is there a D&D movie in production?
I know Joe wanted in on it. Joe Manganiello or whatever his name is.
He would be good to play somebody, but I don't know who. We're getting a new D&D movie in 2021. Bullshit. What is this?
You always
nice
read
try. That. It better not be animated. October 2021, really?
I forgot who the director was.
Ansel Elgort. That's that fucking Kingsman kid, isn't it?
I think so.
He might
be
the
guy
right.
that. Yeah.
Scheduling the D&D session is 70% of the work. What I guess scanning this isn't helping me. I better read it. Ansel Elgort. That's that kid that. Yeah. He'd be all right as somebody.
He's supposed to direct it or be in it?
No. He's gonna play the lead.
Oh.
Goosebumps director Rob Letterman. I never saw Goosebumps.
That was a good movie.
Hasbro owns the company that first published & Dragons in 1974. Sweet Pea Entertainment exercises Sweet Pea Entertainment. I'm out. That's all I need to hear. Twitch followed. Thanks for the follow parody, Lensman. The Dan Hudson. Your stream is ready. What does that even mean? What is that? What just happened? I clicked on a thing and it wasn't even Cafe. Oh, I've been pwned by Cafe Express. I'm doxing my own email. I don't care. My email's everywhere. You can all have it. All right, I'll have to look at that later. Twitch, your stream summary is ready. Oh, right. In order to partner, you need an average of 75 viewers. My average is 5.4. Now that there's 70 people here now, but the way they do the averages is jacked. Okay, fuck these people.
Yeah.
Is it against terms of service on Twitch to say fuck Twitch? Can you not do that? I just did it.
What do we got here?
Oh, this is claiming his prize. Let's do it. So, parody bit. So, I'll make sure I'm not dox his email. This is what I do, everybody. So, when you win a prize, if you ever win a prize from me, I'm going to show you the behind the scenes right now. Here's what happens. I go here, and I get this pre-typed out thing that I have because I have to do it 75 million times. I give away so much shit, it's unbelievable. Alright, let's see. So, this is it. I copy it. I paste it in. And it says, you may choose an item from the DM's Guild that has my name on it. Rob Toohey, single item, no packages, please. And you may include things I've done with others as long as it has my name on it. And then I give them the link and I tell them it doesn't work on your phone, only on a computer, because DM's Guild is fucked with mobile devices. and I tell him I need their item name and the DM's guild. And then I go away so that if he sends me his email right away, I don't dox it on screen. That's how you do it. So, what else? That's it. We're done. It's over.
Yep, it's over.
I'm going to close this. This is me uploading This is me uploading our game from today. Does everyone want to see how I do that? This is what I do. I go like this. Okay, that's the wrong one. Leave. I go to the previous game on YouTube. This is behind the scenes, everybody. This is Rob Toohey at work, in action. I go to the last episode of whatever show it is, and I open that in a new link. And then I go to that page, and I copy the information, like this. And then I paste it in the new one. Right here, like this. Clear out these tags. Go up to the top, change this to 4. So this is the game we played today. I go over here and I say make it public and add it to the Acquisition Incorporated list. Go back over here, copy the tags, close this page, paste the tags, go here to monetization, say yes, go here to advanced, type in Fantasy Grounds, and why? Because Dungeons and Dragons isn't a thing on YouTube. Put today's date, go to the custom thumbnail, which I think I haven't updated yet, so I will do that. Isn't this exciting, everyone? How many audience members did we lose? This is part of it. This is part of running your stream and everything. Kind of has to do with Fantasy Grounds. That's what I'm uploading, Fantasy Grounds videos. Go, 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 go.
Go Speed Racer.
And then I go to open it. Uh-oh. D&D shit. I'm not supposed to show that. That's a future module. Cover that shit up. Go to YouTube. And open this one. Boom. Change this 3 to a 4. Save it. File, save as a what? A JPEG. That's right. You're absolutely right. Unless you say GIF, then you have to call this JFEG because P stands for photograph. So don't be an idiot. It's GIF. Oh. It's GIF. All right, and then say okay, save it. Close, and then say yeah, save that like that, and then go right here, pick it, boom, put it in. It's uploading. Boom, it's done. Publish like that. And then as soon as this grayed out publish changes to save changes, as soon as that changes to that, I can then click on this button over here. Come on, do it. It's happening. It's going to happen in the next few seconds. Trust me. There it is. And then I click on Video Manager. And you will see that video is now on YouTube. And if you go to my channel, we might hear that fucking music. Oh my god, before I can stop. Okay, now. There it is, right there. Boom. And then tonight after the show, I'll put episode 77. I'll use it last week's thing, and I'll put it, and it'll be right here. This will all move over, and it'll be right there. And that's how you do YouTube, everybody. There's a little mini YouTube seminar. Now, if you didn't have TubeBuddy like I do, which costs money, that whole process I just did would take you like an hour. So it saves a lot of fucking time. Yeah, and here, the first thing on the YouTube channel is the playlist for all these shows.
All
things.
Put that link for that in the chat. All Things Fantasy Grounds playlist.
All right, let's do it. There it is, baby.
So we've covered a lot of topics, and Lady Shell has actually summarized most of them to date. Mm-hmm. Now, so if you want to know what they are.
For everybody that hung out till the end of the show, boom, another prize.
Yeah.
Do it. Keyword is still damned, everybody. Exclamation, damned. Anyone can enter except for the person who won. Don't be a dick and enter twice. So, keyword damned, everybody. Exclamation, D-A-M-N-E-D. Damn Ned. And I will give away another thing. Because you guys all hung out and let's do us bullshit. Which as soon as we turn the stream off, we're going to bullshit 2 more hours because we always do. What are you doing? I'm going to sleep. Oh, I didn't run the countdown. Okay, let's change that to a minute and start it. Okay, running the countdown. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. So yeah, that's the whole exciting thing, everybody. I got my new game table. Everyone's invited, by the way. Anybody who can hear the sound of my voice, whether you're listening now or on YouTube later, everybody's invited to my house 2 at a time to play games.
2 at a time.
2 at a time. Yeah, I can't have a big crowd. But you're all invited.
Take down the bit boss.
Take it down. Keyword raffle closing in 30 seconds. Which is 15 seconds right now. Alright, so we're going to, after I give the prize away, we're going to be done, guys. Any final words to the people?
I would say keep playing Fantasy Grounds, folks. Learn all you can and have fun with it. Because what you put into it is what you get out of it.
Period? She's asleep. Is she still here?
No,
Yes.
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
I was just reeling from Laroon's super cheesy quote there.
All right. So, do you have any smart things to say, Theory?
Smart? No, never.
Okay.
But I do want to thank everybody for hanging around for this last half hour while we BS and talk about our fantasy D&D cast of a movie that will never happen.
Right, it's never gonna happen. All right, the winner is Pooty Poo Poo. Nice. So Pooty
right.
Poo Poo, I believe you've actually maybe won from me before, but if not, I will. It's hard for me to remember. I'll give you the Discord link. So just PM me in Discord, and I always spell it Discrod. But you have to forgive me, people. I'm less dick sick. See what I did there? I made a joke about a small penis. So yeah. So just send me the thing in Discord and I'll hook you up as well. So on behalf of Fury Fate and on behalf of Leroon, and thanks again to our special guest, Damned, I'd like to thank you, the audience, for hanging out with us tonight. And hope to see you back here on the channel soon. Until then, good gaming, everyone.